Hi, this is Ruchi Singhal, and we're bringing you our second installation of the Nexus Energy Center Show, a monthly podcast where we talk to energy experts in the community and around America. And today we have some really exciting speakers. We've got a vice president from TVA, Dr. Joe Hoagland, who recently spoke at an Energy Huntsville meeting in Huntsville, Alabama. We also have a perspective from a young professional who's looking to grow in the environmental sustainability, clean energy movement. And through her internship and her education, she's been able to make some headway with her goals. But first, I've got Keith Lohorn here in Nexus Energy Center. And together we were going to give you a few holiday tips as it's almost Christmas and the end of 2016. The weather is getting cooler, and we're noticing that there's some simple ways that everybody at home could benefit from saving energy, lowering their utility bill, but still staying super comfy and warm in their homes. We don't want people to feel like to save energy you have to live without. And so that's what we've got tips today. Keith?
Well, how are you today? It's in Alabama, you never know what the weather's going to do. It could be 70 degrees in the morning and 30 degrees in the afternoon. It could be snowing, raining. So, you're always trying to figure out how you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to keep your thermostat. And, if we look at the energy efficiencies of your home, you can maintain a constant temperature just by keeping things steady. And I think Rushi's probably far better at explaining those things than I am, but I think that's one of the main things. If you keep your air or if you keep your heat at a steady temperature, then your home is going to be comfortable overall in several different ways.
Definitely. It's definitely one of the recommendations we make at Nexus Energy Center is having a programmable thermostat is a good way of keeping your home at a consistent temperature. We also tell people don't do a big swing. You might be out of the house in the middle of the day or go out of town and you'll be tempted to want to lower it by 10, 15 degrees. The problem with that is when it does get really cold or when you are coming back to the house, your unit is having to work really hard just to make it up to that temperature. So keeping a reasonable adjustment for when you're out of the house is better, but not spiking it when you're in the house is also important too. So I know, Keith, you and I were talking earlier, it's the holiday season. You're going to have more people in your home. Your home is naturally going to be warm. You actually don't need to keep it much above 72, in the winter. And still that way you can be comfortable but not have a high utility bill. I actually keep my house at 68, which I know sounds a little cool, but we dress appropriately in our home. Another Nexus tip. If it's winter, you shouldn't be really roaming around in t-shirt and shorts. You should be wearing what you wear in the winter, and in the summer is vice versa. So dressing appropriately, keeping your thermostat on the right temperature is really important.
And you get used to it after a while. At first you may be a little chilly and you may have to put a blanket around you while you're watching TV, but after a couple of days you get used to it. So it's not like it is somewhat of a change, but your body adjusts pretty well to it.
And it actually makes the outside not seem so shocking. I know that when I go in and out with the kids, we're still playing in the wintertime, and we bundle up, put our jackets on. But if we come into a house and it's almost 80, it's almost shocking for your system and your skin and your sinuses and all that stuff. So having that, not having too much of a difference is nice.
And not to mention at the end of the month when you get that bill and you really go into a shock.
That's a different kind of shock, right? Yeah. One of the other things to think about during the holiday season, and I know we're actually kind of coming towards the end. Christmas is just in a couple of days. But is the twinkle lights. Everybody wants to decorate their home. We want to put lights on the outside. And the traditional lights are actually not as efficient as some of the LED options out there. What I would recommend is this year, as you're packing up your lights, if you're frustrated with any of them or you're seeing some of them are broken and it's time to replace, go LED. You will be surprised about how much you can save using LED light bulbs and compared to the traditional lights that are out there. And they've come out with really good colors and varieties of LED lights. They're not just that bright blue light that you might not want to have on your house.
And the prices have come down tremendously.
Prices have come way down.
Yeah, and I know that's what we've done at our house is slowly and gradually switched over. And of course, being thrifty, we buy the lights when they're on sale right after Christmas or right that Good Friday or Black Friday, And that's how we've changed over ours. And we've got a lot of lights and a lot of trees in our house, so we've made the switch over pretty good.
That's another good tip to take advantage of some of the lower costs after the holiday season. The last little tip we wanted to give related to the lights is timers. It kind of goes hand in hand with what a programmable thermostat does, which is how you get to adjust something coming on and off ahead of time. Same thing with a timer, and I know we use this for all of our lights, is we put things on timers so that they're only on when you want them to be on and off when you don't need them on, or if it's daylight and you don't need them on. So definitely take advantage of a timer. They have outdoor timers out there. The last little tip I did want to give, Keith, and I know you agree with me on this, is if you're using a fireplace or you have anything that's burning some kind of gas, make sure you have a carbon monoxide monitor. It's really, really important to be safe this holiday season. Have a carbon monoxide monitor so that you know if any CO, which is what we say in the chemical word, if that's building up, it's a silent killer, and you really need to be aware of that issue.
And to close your damper.
Yes.
If you got a wood burning fireplace, you need to make sure that damper's closed when you're not using the fireplace. Make sure you open it when you start the fire, but
That's right.
Close it, because there's a lot of air that goes up in that chimney.
Yep, that's right.
And the last thing that I'll make the plea. It's the getting toward the end of the year, and we have such a giving community out there, and we would love for you to think about Nexus Energy Center as your year-end charitable giving. Maybe write us a check so we can do some more comfort projects, or just anything along those lines, because it is a time that there are some less fortunate people in this world, and that's what Nexus is here for, to help them to lower their utility bills, and we sure would appreciate your help with anything like that.
Yeah, it's true. The Comfort Project has helped over 35 elderly and low-income homeowners in our community with permanent energy saving measures in their home, and they are all appreciating the lower utility bill because of those measures. And even though Keith and me and a lot of you guys out there can afford energy saving measures in your home, some of these homeowners can't, and that's why the Comfort Project is so important. So if you can find it in your heart to donate, we would love to receive that. If you have more questions about it, you can always go to the nexusenergycenter.org website and learn more about all of our programs, especially the Comfort Project. But please consider it as a project that's worth funding, so that we can keep improving this community with what we know best, which is how to save energy in your home. So thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
We are here today on December 20th at the Energy Huntsville meeting with Dr. Hoagland from TVA, and we're just going to ask him a few questions so that we can kind of recap what his talk was for the Energy Huntsville. So thank you, Dr. Hoagland, for coming.
Well, I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about the TVA perspective. I know today you talked a lot about solar. From a Nexus Energy Center perspective, we're always interested on the efficiency side. Do you still see value in energy efficiency for communities at the residential level?
Yes, I think energy efficiency, it's all good, I think, as we think about energy efficiency, to be sure we're using electricity as wisely as we possibly can and getting the best benefit for the electricity that's produced. When we did our IRP a few years ago, we actually programmed energy efficiency in as a resource, and that's been very beneficial. In today's world, however, we're not growing any longer, and so the value that we get from energy efficiency as a resource has diminished from where it used to be. But we're also finding that energy efficiency becomes a tool, particularly for low-income, other folks that just don't have the ability to keep up with all the technological changes that are going on that could either shift or change their energy costs. And so I see those programs continuing to grow. They're difficult because we have to think about how not only do we do energy efficiency programs, but how do we engage other parts of the community that work with folks in the low income to help with housing and all of that, those kinds of things.
Yeah, and if I can infer from what you just said, it almost seems like efficiency has worked. That's one of the reasons maybe power has stabilized.
Yeah, great point. That is the reason we're not seeing load growth. When you look at all of the energy efficiency standards that DOE has promulgated in the last few years, those have significantly reduced the load nationally.
Yeah.
certainly for the TVA territory. And probably one of the biggest contributors to that is just the shift to complex fluorescent bulbs and now LED bulbs.
Yeah. Let me ask you a little bit about marketing and what does TVA do to want to engage the community? That's something as a nonprofit with Nexus Energy Center, we're always in contact at the ground level with the community on what their needs are. And I know TVA is important for them as well. So how do you guys engage with the community and kind of address their concerns and to build that customer service piece?
So there's several layers for us. First of all, and probably most importantly, is our customers, which are the local power companies. In the case here would be Huntsville Utilities. Those folks engage directly with the community. It is their community. They actually deliver the electricity directly to people's homes. But we also try to make sure we understand what's going on both with the community leaders, working with the local power companies, and we've done a fair amount of work and plan to continue to do more work in sort of the stakeholder outreach group where we're trying to understand what customers really want. In this evolving marketplace, their needs and interests are changing, and making sure we truly understand what those are important. So we have actually some stakeholder groups that are working with in different communities with different sets of stakeholders, everything from advocates to policymakers, state regulators, and as well as our local power companies and other large industrial customers. So we really get a balanced perspective of each of their opinions on things so that as we make decisions, we can make decisions that gives the best benefit for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. One area that Nexus struggles on but wants to see more improvement is small business. So small commercial entities probably the most need to save on high utility bills because they can take that money and put it back into their operations, and the return on investment is usually pretty quick for them, but they can't get over that initial investment, the capital investment they need to do to save the energy. And so it becomes a cycle of them needing to save energy but not being able to afford to do so. Does TVA, or do you have any kind of suggestions on what small business can do, or what Nexus can even do to convince small commercial that, hey, saving energy is important and reducing your utility load is really important?
So I think education is a huge component.
Yeah.
One of the things we found in talking with customers is most, as you mentioned, most folks want to do something,
Yeah.
but they don't know what to do. And in some cases, they think they got to make some huge major change
Yeah.
in order to affect anything. The reality is you can actually get started with energy efficiency by doing some fairly small, very simple stuff. Just simply slowly over time swapping out light bulbs to LED light bulbs, for example. It makes a huge change in your electricity bill. Probably can't swap them all out today.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Work it over time.
Come up with a plan.
The other kind of things is think about for your operations itself. I see a lot of companies that turn things on, never turn them off, whether they're being used or whether they're not being used. And you can buy electronics that'll allow you to do that, which is good. But if you don't have the money to do that, just simply creating a procedure or process for your company that says, this is what we're going to turn on and turn off, when we're going to use it,
Yes.
those kind of things. And those begin to add up.
Yes.
And if you save a little bit of what you've added up, you can then do bigger things.
Yeah, and that goes back to that education piece. If they
Yes.
know what their loads are, they can manage their loads better. Even if they can't do it in a, Wi-Fi offline kind of way, they can at least do it manually.
That's right. And it's
Yeah.
certainly cool to do it with the new technology,
Yeah.
but it's not required.
Right. I'm going to switch gears on you, and this will be kind of the last big question, but, with the Trump administration and you guys being a quasi-federal government utility, does TVA get affected with this new presidential administration? Are there things that you guys are concerned about or that are in conversations with to make sure whatever work you've already been doing moving forward, that doesn't get changed or get affected?
So, TVA has been working very hard the last few years to reduce our operational costs, to become much more efficient about what we do and how we do it. And we expect to continue that, because that at the end of the day is about our mission. Our mission is really to serve the people of the valley, provide low-cost, reliable electricity, and do it in an effective manner. We believe we're doing that. We don't see anything obvious from the Trump administration that would change from that. Certainly, we will have to wait and see how things evolve. But at this point, we're going to stay focused on the things that we do and do best.
Okay, so it sounds like whatever plans and kind of business strategies that TVA has, they're moving forward the way you want them to. That relationship that you guys have with the local power companies, those are going, how is that relationship? Is that going well?
Oh yeah, the relationship with the local power company is very important.
Yes.
We generate and transmit the electricity. They are the ones that actually bring the electricity to consumers, either in their business or their homes. And so the relationship we have with them is critical.
It's cool.
And we work in partnership on everything from just actual delivery of the electricity to energy efficiency to how we help communities in terms of bringing jobs and economic development and that kind of thing. So it's a very strong and important bond.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hoagland. Thank you for coming to Huntsville today.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it, actually.
I'm here with Emily Johnson. She is a new hire to Nexus Energy Center from Mississippi State, and I wanted to learn a little bit about what young people are seeing out there as they try to start a career in sustainability, clean energy, environment. Is the education system helping them or not? And what is helping them? So, Emily, thanks for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about what you studied at Mississippi State and if it helped you with what your career goals are.
So I majored in environmental economics and business management. I started more along the lines of a business side of things, and then as my interest grew and as my education expanded, I kind of realized that I wanted to focus more on natural resources and sustainability and really just the route of where our planet is headed. I think a lot of the responsibility nowadays relies on our generation and looking at tomorrow. And, some people aren't always thinking ahead to the future. And I think that being a younger person in this environment that we are in now, we don't have an option but to look towards the future. So everything that I'm kind of interested in is natural resources. How can we prolong the life that we're used to, but in a positive way? Change our energy consumption, change things that aren't benefiting our environment and actually making it worse, because there are going to be people and generations after us, and if there's nothing for them to enjoy or surround themselves with, then what's the point?
So that's really interesting. Do you feel that if you could give a percentage out of your friends your age, how many people think like you? How many people do worry about sustainability in the future?
I'd say it's about half and half. On real dedication. Everyone has interests, but it's also hard being in certain environments. Like at Mississippi State, they don't do curbside recycling anymore. Yeah. So I would have to take my recycling once a week, and I would tell all my friends, if you just recycle your stuff, I'll pick it up for you and take it. But just the fact that things aren't as easy as they are in some places, I don't want to say that people just aren't aware, or that people are ignorant, or that they just don't care, but just the opportunities are not as available to them.
Right. Okay. So what about on the energy side? Do you feel like young people have a concept about where their current energy comes from? And are they mad about it? Do they care? Are they kind of apathetic?
Fortunately, a lot of my friends do care about those kind of things. Fast fashion is a big thing.
What's fast fashion?
Fast fashion, going to a Forever 21 or a H&M, not buying quality clothes, just buying trendy clothes that won't last long, and having hundreds of items in your closet. That's not a sustainable thing. Like, I love to buy secondhand clothes, and because of that, I always have really unique clothing that everyone else tends to comment on or something, and it's really just easy changes that people can do to make a big difference.
But what about on energy? Do people know where their electricity comes from?
No.
They don't.
No.
Okay. So that hasn't, people are still not aware. There still could be, there's need for better education.
Yes, I think that one of the only things that people my age are really aware of in terms of energy is like an option for a green switch for your utilities, but a lot of times you're not thinking about where that energy is coming from or how it's being produced or how it's affecting your overall life. You just turn your lights on and off, pay your electricity bill, and that's it.
So does that mean, or is that a little bit why you wanted to work for Nexus? Did you feel like you wanted to help increase awareness?
I think that that's a huge part of it. But not only that, but Nexus is a nonprofit, and I think that's really important nowadays, especially in terms of energy. You know, a company's integrity and honesty typically is not as transparent as you would think. And I think knowing that a company is a nonprofit, it's automatically an element of trust to that. So I think it's important to be able to trust the companies that you're associating with and the ones that you're doing business with, and actually knowing that they're giving you truthful answers and not just lying to you to get your money.
Well, we look forward to working with Emily here at Nexus, and we hope to keep talking to Emily in the coming months so that we can see, as her experience as a young professional in the clean energy world, what is she seeing, what impact does she feel like she's making, and how is she helping Alabama through Nexus Energy Center really see some positive results. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Nexus Energy Center show with our second podcast here. We'll have this podcast posted on our Nexus Energy Center YouTube channel as well as on the SoundCloud. Please stay in touch with us every month, as we'll be posting a new podcast with new interviews every month. Thanks again, and stay warm this winter.